Hey, Mike Rogers here with you, the Mike Rogers Show, and today, part 2 of the lead singer of Bad Mary, Miss Amanda Mack, is here to tell us about Bad Mary. But before we get started on that, don't forget to click subscribe or like and whatever on this video and become a subscriber to the Mike Rogers Show and win lots of stupid prizes. Hey, Amanda, how are you?
I'm great, Mike. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Thanks for the interview yesterday. That was very interesting.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat with you again.
So can you tell us, let's talk about Bad Mary today. And I heard that Bad Mary has a new record out. Is that true?
That is true, Mike. That is true.
Tell us about the record. What's the name of the record, the names of the tracks, and how did this record come about and whatever?
Okay, so we do have a couple things out. So we have a full new EP that was out recently, Rock and Roll Classics Volume 7. That is a follow-up to our release earlier this summer, Rock and Roll Classics Volume 6. It's a total collection of 12 cover songs that we as a band have been playing for a while and just generally really enjoy playing. And it was kind of a pandemic project for us. I would say we couldn't really get together and write music. We hadn't gotten together to really record stuff in a very long time. So when we were all finally able to get back together, we had just collected all these songs that we really wanted to jump into the studio and work on and get our gears turning again. So we took it as just a really fun opportunity to throw it on some covers. And it's our version.
Can I ask you, is this record released by K-Tel or the Columbia Record Club?
No, are you looking at the album art?
No. I just thought the name of the Rock and Roll Classics, that reminded me of like something that I bought when I was a kid. You know, when you'd watch TV and they'd say, 28 big hits, and then you'd get the record, and then it was like, hey, this is not the original version.
Yeah, it's like the stuff you hear playing in like the party store where it's like, okay, I know this song, but that's not, is that them? These would be on that. We're not them. We did it a different version. But no, that's exactly the vibe we were going for. So I'm really happy that you say that. That's awesome. In my wildest dreams, if we could keep making them, there would be like a Rock and Roll Classics Volume 300 because there's so many songs that we just love. It was really hard to like pick those 12, and we did 6 and 7 because you're like, are people gonna get confused because we're starting with Volume 6 and not Volume 1? It's because that's our 6th and 7th release.
Well, so, because also Star Wars started with Volume 4, I think it was, right? So you could
Episode 4
in the future go back to the past and do it like that.
Exactly.
So what songs are on the current record?
Goodness, Volume 7. I believe that it has. We went Blondie again. If you can't tell, we're big Blondie fans. So we have One Way or Another is on Volume 6, and then when we sat down to do Volume 7, we were like, can we do Call Me? Should we do Call Me? We love Call Me. Let's just do Call Me. So there's a Blondie on each one. So we have Call Me by Blondie. We have Hot Stuff by Donna Summer. We have White Room by Cream. We have... What else is on this one? I think Hybrid Moments by the Misfits is on this one. So White Room by Cream is different because my dad's in the band. My dad, Bill Mack, sings lead vocals on that. And Hybrid Moments, Mike, our bassist, sings lead vocals on that. And I harmonize with them.
Gotta make him do some work,
Yeah,
Keep up this, Pay for his keep. So we'll put links down to that record and where they can see it down. So send me the link to that, okay?
Absolutely. And to add to that, you can really find it everywhere. So if you're like, I need to find it now, I don't want to click a link. Wherever you listen to your music, you can probably find it there. So just going to throw that out.
Oh, okay. Is it on vinyl or CD too also?
It may be on CD at some point. Vinyl is a dream for us. So I will be very loud on all of our social media about if and when we get vinyl. I would be so happy for that. But as of right now, no. Would I like there to be? Yes, I love vinyl. Yeah. I think it's really cool. So that's a dream.
Okay, so and how about touring now? Are you guys touring? Wait a minute, before I go on to that, and I might be really confused, and I can't keep track of all these bands, but did you guys play with Blondie or The Damned or somebody recently?
No. Okay, so we did play with somebody recently, but we went to see Blondie and The Damned recently.
Oh, okay.
So in as much as I love playing shows, and the rare chance that we get to really catch such like a great combination like that, you gotta go. You have to go. So no, we took like a band field trip and went to see Blondie and The Damned, and it just like felt like a master class. It was just such a cool experience seeing them at that venue. But we did play with another band that we definitely just are huge fans of. We played with the Dolly Rots recently when they toured through New York City, when they toured through Manhattan, did the Bowery Electric show. We got to open for them, and that was we were so jazzed about that. We got to meet them. They're really cool people. So it was one of those like things where, we've been like watching you and listening to your music for so long, and then we finally meet you. You continue to be cool and awesome. So it was just like a really great night. And they're a great band, great people. Kelly and Luis are awesome. And yeah, so there we did get to play with the Dolly Rots, and we saw Blondie and The Damned. It's been a great time right now. So
how many people showed the Dolly Rots? Was that show must have been sold out, right?
It was packed. It was like, have you ever been to Bowery Electric?
I've never been to New York.
If you're in New York, Mike, we're going to Bowery Electric, okay?
Yeah.
I'm taking you there. But it's a really cool club. And it's just, it was packed. You could like feel it. You could feel like how the energy of the room. So it was really cool. And Palmyra Del Ren was also on that bill. So it was really cool meeting her. It's great.
So Palmyra Dairon, I don't know how to say her name, and the lead singer from the Dolly Rots, what's her name? Kelly,
yep.
So they're going to start playing you on Sirius XM?
I wouldn't hate it. If they want, I have music I could send them. I'd be happy to. They were lovely. So if I were to hear our music on one of their shows, I think I would just be ecstatic. If I were to hear our music on one of their shows, I think I would just be ecstatic. So I wouldn't.
That's cool.
That would be awesome.
Okay, and tell us. I don't want to talk about other bands so much, but tell us about Blondie and The Damned. How was that?
It was really great. I haven't been at a concert. I've played shows, but really being at one and in the crowd at a concert like that in a really long time. It's been a really long time for me. So that was the first time in like a couple of years where I could stand on a rooftop and see people in band shirts where I was like, I like that band. I like that band too. And like kind of like really look around and be like, we're all here for the same thing. Like, this is my people. Like, I felt like just such a great energy from it. And then in addition to that, get to see Blondie and The Damned perform. And just watching The Damned play live, the music was great. Their keyboard player, I could just probably watch him for 90 minutes. Like, his hair's going crazy and he's just living his best life. And to me, like, that's what the performance is about, is just that. And then Blondie comes on after and like just has so much fun. Debbie Harry is a riot. She's hilarious. And she's still like, she's so talented, and like she could stand on stage and read the dictionary, and I would probably be like, this is the best day of my life. But no, it was great. And watching Blondie play validated some things for me that I feel like I get on my case about performing sometimes, is like, if I do something goofy, which I do constantly, I have no control over it. I'll get too in my head and be like, was that too goofy? I don't know. I did hear, and I'm going to call her out on this a little bit, but she switched a couple of the words around in some of her songs. I do that constantly, and watching someone do it and have fun with it and then play with the audience with it and like make it a thing and just turn it around and like us all have a good time.
Yeah.
It like validated that for me, that like, no, it doesn't have to be perfect, but this is a moment that we in this moment now share together. And it's hilarious, and we're all happy, and we're having a good time, and it's never going to happen exactly this way again. So it just like validated for me that it's fun as an audience member to experience that from the other side. And like, it was just such a good time. Like, I'm still riding the high from that show, and it was a couple weeks back.
Wow. That's really cool. Well, let me tell you about, I don't want to talk so much, but let me tell you about my experience with Blondie, and you'll be like, wow. I saw Blondie, and the opening band was the Dickies. No, the opening band was Mike Panera from Iron Butterfly. And then the Dickies played, and there was one more band. I think it was the Jam. I'm not sure. And then Blondie, and it was $1.50 to the show, and there was like 50 people there. And that was like one of the first concerts I'd ever went to in LA, and people, I thought, oh my God, people from Los Angeles are brutal, because Mike Panera, with the Iron Butterfly guy, he was just playing like his heavy metal stuff, and people were standing in front of the stage, flipping him off, and they were yelling, boring, boring, and everybody was doing that. Not me, of course, because I have good manners.
Yes, you do.
and then Blondie came out, and it was really cool. But like I said, there weren't 50 people there. The place was.
But isn't that wild though? How like sometimes bills are constructed where it's like, does this act make any sense?
Yeah.
With this act, and sometimes you walk into a club and you have no idea what you're going to get, and it's going to be all over the place. It's.
Well, Japan is really that way. Japan, you might walk in and see a heavy metal, death metal band, and then the next band is a teen idol band, and then the next band is like a pop band or something like that. They do that in Japan a lot.
They do that in New York too. You get really lucky sometimes. Oh yeah. Because it's sometimes I feel like, and sometimes I feel like it might have to happen this way just because scheduling, and it's like you get who you can to fill that night. Mm-hmm. So I understand that it does happen, but when you get a show where like everyone really clicks, it's so much different. It's so much different. But yeah, that's something Bad Mary has faced a bit of, is like, what? Do we make any sense next to this act? All right, okay, we'll see what happens, but.
That's cool. And then I saw the Dead Boys open for the Damned, and the Dead Boys just blew them away. I mean, by the time the Damned came out on the stage, everyone was exhausted.
Were they like circle pit and already like
fully? People didn't really, what do you call it? What's it called? Mosh. They didn't mosh back then. They pogoed. But
is that like
just jumping up straight like that, and but the Damned or the Dead Boys were so awesome. And that was the only time I've ever seen the Damned, and I kind of thought, oh, they're flat. But anybody would be flat after the Dead Boys, because they were like a nuclear bomb, So yeah. But anyway, so enough about me. Let's talk about you. So how about you guys have plans to come to Japan again? How many times have you been to Japan?
So we've only been to Japan to tour the one time in 2019. Mm-hmm. I've been to Japan 3 times. Mm-hmm. The last was the tour, but I've been 2 times before that. Mike has been 4 times. Oh. David, I think, has been 2 or 3 times, and my dad, that was his first trip, was the tour.
Did Dad like Japan?
He loved it. He really, really loved it, and like he, I don't remember the last time he had like traveled out of the country, so he was just very excited to be somewhere else, somewhere like different, where it's like you could tell like, oh, I'm not, I've stepped into
Spaceland.
Yeah, it's different. I honestly love it. I would go. We've been trying to come back. We want to come back. So we do have plans to come back. And the second we have a definitive date or anything, we're gonna blast it everywhere. But we very much want to come back and are working to make that happen as soon as we feasibly can. And hopefully with the new release, we are working on some new music and everything too. So
new original music?
Yes, new original music.
Wow. So you and Mike write the songs, and David writes the songs?
Yeah, we are very collaborative. So there's no like one set formula that works as far as who writes what. But for the most part, either Mike or David will bring in like the bones of a song that they wrote, and they're like, okay, here's like a progression I've been working on and some lyrics. And they'll kind of hand that to me, and they'll work through the rhythm with my dad, and he'll work with what they've given him to kind of create all these moments and fills and just kind of keep everything in track first. And I'll usually take like, oh, here's a rhythm that you kind of want to follow, and I'll work with the syncopation of the lyrics. I'll play with the whole melody line. Sometimes I'll rewrite a lot of the lyrics based on what the message is, or if they're easy or hard to say. Because sometimes they write a lot of words in a very small amount of time, so I have to speak very quickly or sing very quickly, and I will literally have to go in and edit like how the vowels go into the next words, or also, and that's not easy to do because that's happened. I was like, I need to fix this. I can't sing that fast. So I've learned how to write around having to sing that fast. It's amazing what vowels can do. But we all definitely work on it together, that by the time it's done, when we look at what was first brought in to what it like became, it definitely went through all four of us to get to the final product.
So you are basically writing lyrics for the band.
Lyrics, melody line, and because there is, as far as the vocals are concerned, they leave that ball in my court almost completely, unless I'm like, hey, this isn't matching up with like what you're playing. Can we sit and try to like
get it straight? Come on.
Yeah, sometimes I just gotta be like, hey, what are we doing? But yeah, so I do mostly focus on the lyrics and melody and harmony, and then how the vocals work within the music.
What's your favorite song that you've ever written? Bad Mary song, or they're all your favorite?
So they're all my favorite, but the best story as far as lyrics and working in time under pressure, the song Trouble, which is part of our EP We Could Have Saved the World, is a song on that. It's very different, and that had a very different process than even what I just said. That started as a song kind of between my dad and me and Mike at our house, and then we turned it into this like kind of bluesy thing that then we brought into the whole band, and it turned into what it is. I wrote the lyrics for Trouble in the car on the way to the recording studio. So that is my I had an idea for it, and I had like kind of phrases and little bits and pieces like written out, and I had like a beat in my head, but I really didn't have anything like solid and concrete down. Literally the day that we were like, okay, we're going to the studio to record this weekend, so like we need lyrics for this song. So like in the car on the way there, I finally like allowed my brain, because I think part of it, like it was just holding here, and I was like, okay, if I don't write them yet, then those aren't the lyrics. So I had time to like edit it. But I didn't then, so I just let all of my thoughts finally out of my brain onto the note, and that's what became Trouble. So I don't know if it's necessarily my favorite, but it was the most like you don't have time to sit and do 17 versions of what's the most perfect version of this. Like it's just bloop, go. And it is one of my favorite songs because it's so different for us, I think. But
that's one of my favorite songs, actually.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, I thought it was different, and in a good meaning, of course.
No, I would love to. One of my things I'd love to record is an acoustic version of it. If I were to do an acoustic version of like any Bad Mary song, that's like in the top 3.
Oh, really? So yeah, that's a really nice song, and a nice, what do you call it, meaning and everything. I really like that. So okay, thanks, Amanda, how about your future, the band, your future and the band's future? What are your dreams? What do you want to do? Do you want to like, grow up, get become super famous, make duets with Cher?
If Cher would ever do a duet with me, I would be so ecstatic. I would never ever turn down that opportunity. I love her. Yeah, I mean, okay, that's definitely, I wasn't gonna put that as like the top goal, but like that's the top goal, duet with Cher. But I want to play our music in more places. I would love to come back to Japan, so we're working real hard to make that happen. We would love to tour other places, even get out to the west coast of the US. Hop out to California. We have a little pockets of fan base all around the US now that like we haven't been able to visit. So we would really love to be able to target those places and actually see those people in person. We're consistently writing new music now, so we have a new release coming out early 2023. That's going to be called Trash and Glamour, and there's already 2 songs with singles that are out. So there's a song, The Floor is Lava, that's going to be on the EP Trash and Glamour. That's one of our new originals. And then there's a song, Light It Up, that's also going to be on Trash and Glamour, one of the new originals. So there's a bunch more coming out in 2023 off of that EP. So we would love to like tour and bring that around. But we're working, we're doing the whole like trying to just get our music out there. So we've put everything on all streaming platforms. We've been on some FM radio, some terrestrial radio. We've been on Sirius. So every day there's just a little bit more and some more doors opening. So we would love to just tour more and get our music out there. That's what we're working to do. As well as just really come back to Japan. That's been on all of our minds since the second that we left, was we need to come back as soon as humanly possible.
Yeah. So how about though, just for Amanda Mack and not the band? Let's say you didn't have the band now. What do you want to be? Where do you want to be? What or would you start a band?
I don't know. I mean, there's nothing like playing with a band. There is absolutely nothing like playing with the band. I would be interested to explore just like any musical, anything. I would consider trying to do another like rock musical. It's been years since I've done a rock show, and I feel like that flexes different muscles that I would then like leave and then maybe use to start a band or something like that. I've never had the dream of like being a solo artist. Like I can honestly say that isn't really something that's been part of my goal. I very much love that shared experience on a stage with like the musicians that are like in the same act as you. Not to say that solo artists don't have that, but I feel like there's a camaraderie that I really love. The same thing with like theater, like it's being part of a cast. It's that camaraderie that I really, really love. So I would probably look to jump into something like that. I love visual art too. So I don't know if I would explore more with like painting or design. But yeah, probably jump back into rock musicals though, off the bat. That would be the first thing, because I haven't in so long. So I scratch that itch and then see what happens after that.
Why don't you start writing a rock musical? You don't need to like have it ready in 6 months or a year, or just start writing something.
You might be onto something that we have talked about.
Are you winking at me?
I might be winking at you, Mike. I might be winking at you. So in 2019, when we did tour Japan, right after that tour, we released an album called The Return of Space Girl, which is it's like a 33-minute punk rock concept space opera album that has a cartoon corresponding to it. We have talked for a very long time about possibly adapting it into some kind of musical show or just some kind of stage experience that we have no concrete plans, but just know that there are a lot of like eye notes and messages between like us and our like more theatrical based friends who do like writing and stuff of like, is this a good idea? I don't know. Is this a good idea? And we have like little drawing boards happening. So that would be a blast.
Yeah.
That would be an absolute blast.
I can tell you from experience that because you released that record, and then you had the what was it? Something Space Girl. What was it called? You had the video.
So the video, there's videos I think for a bunch of the songs, but there's a half-hour video that's just The Return of Space Girl.
Yeah, Return of Space Girl.
I'll send you the link for that too.
Well, no, I've seen it. So and that that video won an award at some film festival, right?
Yeah.
So I remember that, and that
David animated the whole entire thing. Yeah. I need to interject. David Henderson, our guitarist, animated the entire thing himself.
So that sort of history or roadmap is very important for maybe propping up some kind of a theater play or something like that. And, and then you come out with comic books, merchandise, little keychain things, just all sorts of things, and the whole thing turns into a big production.
Backpacks, little Space Girl hats.
Yeah.
We have a pin. There's an enamel pin on our website, so if you want to get a jump start on the Space Girl merch, we have one.
Yeah, send me it. So you're going to send me the link to the the internet or to the page where we can buy Space Girl.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Space Girl stuff. So okay, we're running out of time, but I want to ask you one last thing. Let's say I was a young musician and I wanted to get started. What advice could you give me? Like, do this, don't do that, do that. What would you say is the best thing, the most important thing to do besides learning how to play guitar? Okay, we've gotten past the guitar. I learned how to play guitar and I want to make a band or do what? So how do I do that?
When you're first starting, just keep going. That is the best that I can say. When you're first starting, especially we live in an age where social media is everything. So if you're okay, I'm going to form a band. So I've got 3 friends. Okay, now what do we do? Okay, now I'm going to make a Facebook page. Now I'm going to make an Instagram and then sit and be okay, hopefully someone will find us. And you can't get discouraged by your numbers not immediately going from 0 to 1 million. Mm-hmm. That is the biggest thing, I think, starting out, is that you need to realize that this is something you will, if you really want to do it, you will work on every single day. Some days it'll feel more like work than others. Some days it'll be the most fun thing you've ever done in your life. And you just need to remember that you love it throughout the entire thing. So the biggest thing to remember is if something doesn't happen overnight, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. You just get up and you try it again the next day. If your song isn't perfect the first time you try to play it or the first time you rehearse it, that's okay. We have songs that it took us 5 years to get the final version that's recorded down, and it went through 17 iterations before we nailed it. Not everything's going to happen overnight, but keep going. That's really it. And don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to mess up. And have fun.
Yeah.
That's really it. You got to love it. That's the first thing. That's the first thing you need to know before deciding to start a band and become a musician. If you really want to do it, is, do you love it?
Oh, that's important. Yeah. So if I show up at the first band practice and I'm thinking, oh, these guys suck, that's not a good sign.
Well, do you love music though? That's the thing.
Okay.
That's the thing.
That's right.
So if you're I don't mesh with these guys, I've seen that sometimes. If you're in a band, you spend a lot of time with those people. You gotta jive with those people.
Yeah.
If you're in a band and it's people that you've just met and you're we don't mesh well, don't quit music from that experience. You'll find what works for you. If you like music, literally just keep doing it because you love it.
All right. Thank you so much, Miss Amanda Mack from Bad Mary, the rock and roll band Bad Mary. Listen, you can hear this band on the Mike Rogers Show, and I guess I'll start playing them every week for the next 2 months or something like that. Anyways,
we got new music coming out for you.
Yeah, thank you, Amanda-san. Thank you so much for doing the interview for us. This was really, really good, and this will be out. Oh, let's hang up. Okay, so thank you, Amanda.
Thank you, Mike.